It's funny, like I worked with a guy once who now works at Canada Goose, and he was like, if it was just about driving people into store, then I'd just put a sign saying free ice cream.
Some brick and mortar stores are struggling as online shopping soars.
Online shopping is so easy. It's easy. Some of us may even be doing it right now.
Everyone's like, brick and mortar retail is dead. But yet we're not changing how we define retail.
I always make this joke that I remember when retailers were trying to rethink the retail model, they put like a juice bar or a cafe in there and think that was going to drive traffic. And for me, I was like, you're not answering your why, and you're not listening to what your consumer wants from your brand.
Stores across the country are creating experiences for shoppers in store that you can't get at your computer.
On Wednesday, Casper opened the Dreamery, a place that lets New Yorkers rest and recharge.
Oh, we're going to have a look at how Nordstrom is revolutionizing the way you shop, opening up brand new stores without inventory.
Come along, it's going to be a beautiful ride.
This ain't your first time I could.
To actually go to a store and go into the store, it's got to be a pretty darn good reason, and that does come down to curated product assortment.
A new kind of brick and mortar store just opened, selling things we usually can only find online.
Our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is here to explain a store without inventory. Is that a store?
Imagine that, Michael. It's a curated, constantly changing collection of unique products and hot items.
But curated product assortment with some sort of experience attached that brings that curated assortment to life.
People aren't just going to the stores anymore to shop. They want a 360 experience.
We created this wonderful experience where you can come in, you can relax, you can put on pajamas, and you have 45 minutes to just recharge, take a nap, rest, do whatever it is, and kind of like take a break from the rest of the day.
This is the foyer. Some call it the foyer. Just stop and literally smell the roses.
Retail's always been retail, but over the last year, the retail landscape has changed, like what people want to interact with, who they want to interact with, how they want to interact with people. It's so different. And the brands that are going to win over the next like 12 to 24 months are the ones that take the opportunity to notice the shift in those behaviors and say, we should reset our retail and do something differently. Because if we can do something differently, understand to where our guest needs have changed.
And this is my favorite room in the house.
It feel like a cavity every single time you mad at me.
When we think about what has happened over the year, like last year, people have been disconnected from humans physically. Digital has become the way that people get connection. People have had to look at like holistic wellness for themselves in their house rather than at a gym or exercising with friends. People are now worried about everything going wrong. You have a Gen Z audience that have literally taken control of their lives because they had no other like option not to because of all of the things that were changing around them. And so what you now have is this guest opportunity where people are way more focused around their local community. They want to rebuild connection. Community means a lot to them, and you're experiencing lots of these like little mini bubbles popping up. And so for us, there's an opportunity for us to reset what retail means to our guests.
It's called experiential retail.
Experiential retail or retailtainment is about using all of the senses to engage the customer.
It's really easy to measure a traditional store using traditional KPIs. And so I've been doing a little bit of research about different analytics you can use to measure engagement. Like how do you, as a retailer, measure that your engagement's working, you know?
You let me know when you have the answer. I think, I grew up in the world of creating emotional connections. You know, it was like you're creating an emotional connection between an athlete and the brand, or between an athlete and product, between an athlete and experience. You know, like, I shouldn't even say this, but it wasn't always about the business. You know, it wasn't traditional KPIs that we leveraged. It was truly the value of, you create an emotional connection first, and the business results come.
I do see that, you know, like trends are changing coming out of the pandemic, or continuing to live through the pandemic rather. Gen Z, people coming out of school, not getting jobs, like people are just way more conscious of the purchase, and whether that's through a sustainability lens or just like, why do I buy what I buy? And so I think it's brought like a refreshed sense of expectations. And in a way, people will pay a lot of money for something, but it comes with these like emotional standards.
One of the things that we talk about is your emotional guest journey rather than your physical guest journey. Your physical guest journey is someone comes through the front door, they see a product, they pick it up, they go to Fitz, they buy it. Your emotional guest journey is the senses that are heightened through the process that they go through.
People are shopping online, and the last year has really accelerated that, obviously. And a store needs to serve a different purpose. You know, like we gotta give people reason to get out of their houses or their apartments in New York and go into our store on Fifth Avenue. And it's not to access product, because most retailers, you can either buy the product online and have it delivered tomorrow, or you can even swing by the store and not even go in and pick up the product, or you can have the product delivered from the store to your apartment. Like, you decide.
And we hear so much about store closings. Part of that is because they're not modernizing. The majority of retail still takes place at those physical locations, and customers, they just want more from that in-person experience. Otherwise, Michael, they can just hop on Amazon, and it's as seamless as that.
For a brand to be really successful in this, they really need, or it really needs to know itself and who they're trying to speak to, what assortment, like what are they trying to offer?
You're gonna fail if you try to appeal to everyone, because that just doesn't work. It's not gonna work if a brand doesn't have a strong sense of self and point of view, because that's the connector.
When they're clear on their why instead of the what, those are the brands that thrive. It's really powerful to have that discipline and ask, like, why would we can we do this? Yes. You know, we have access to the same talent, and this is definitely pulling from Simon Sinek a little bit, but we have access to the same talent, we have access to the same suppliers. There's nothing we know that others don't know from just an apparel creation standpoint. We absolutely have proprietary products and innovation coming through our pipeline. But as a baseline, it's pretty much that. The reason that Lululemon has been winning is there is the connection with the why we exist in athletics. Even if we're not overt in what we say, I do think that's part of the magic that comes through of why we're here.
You can do all of the work to get people in store, but if actually once they get into store, they can't learn about the product, they can't find the product that they want, they don't get the right service, and actually it becomes really difficult. What you end up with is what could have been a really positive experience becoming a negative experience.
It's kind of this constant balance of brand and business, you know, that we're in. Like, we're building a brand that connects, but we're also driving a business that is $5 billion and growing. And those two things have to, you know, they have to live in harmony with one another, but also have some tension.
Oh, that's neat.
Try it before you buy it.
Yes, right.
I like that. You know, because I've ordered, you know, the shop nows off
right.
Instagram, and it takes a while.
It does.
And I'm always nervous. Like, am I really going to get what it shows? You know?
No, my husband just got some golf sleeves, and they weren't exactly what he was expecting. So.
See? That's a good idea.